What's going on, guys? Orange Form coming at you today with another video. In today's video, the aftermath from week 15. Broncos coming into town, the Ford Field, facing our Detroit Lions. Huge win for the Detroit Lions, man. The blowout game, 42-17. Denver falling to 7-7. Our Detroit Lions going up to 10-4. First place in Division, 3-game lead right now. Needed a little bit of help to clinch this weekend. A couple scenarios didn't happen. Game going on tonight with the Eagles and the Seahawks. We need the Seahawks to lose and we clinch a playoff spot. But if the Seahawks win, we don't clinch, but it gets us closer to that 2 seed. For me, I just want to clinch right now. I want to clinch, and then I want to win the division, and then the chips fall as they may. But getting close to that number 2 seed would be interesting. It would be nice. I still think it's going to be tough to get with the Cowboys there, facing the Cowboys next week, 2 weeks from now, whatever. But hey, that 2 seed would be great, but clinching would be great as well. So, but this was a big bounce back win for the Detroit Lions. Everybody was on point. It was a huge team win. While we were calling people out during the week, I was calling guys out. I was calling out the defense, Aaron Glenn. I was calling out Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, saying need to be better. Everybody needed to be better. Dan Campbell, he needed to be better, and they all were. It was probably one of the most complete football games I've watched in a while. I've said that a couple times in the past few years, but this was a complete football game. First quarter was weird, no score. The offense is kind of feeling each other out on both sides. The defenses were playing pretty well. Defenses were playing pretty well between Denver and Detroit. The second quarter, it just all went downhill for the Broncos, and the Lions just poured it on. So let's get to the injuries. There wasn't really a lot of injuries this game that we really know of, or that wasn't reported. Sometimes some things pop up, though. But Nick Bonito for the Broncos, he did have a knee. He was inactive. But other than that, I think the Broncos were pretty healthy during the game. The Lions, we did lose cornerback Jerry Jacobs with a hamstring injury this game. And we lost tight end Brock Wright to a groin. They did leave the game. Jerry Jacobs getting demoted as well, pretty much to special teams and backup. And Tracy Walker as well. And we'll talk about that too. Let's go to the stats right away. Quarterback Russell Wilson looked like he was seeing ghosts out there. He was 18 for 32 for 223 yards. Did have a touchdown, no interception, sacked twice, did have a big fumble lost. 56.2% completion percentage. The Lions were all over him. They were blitzing him. They were making him put his head on a swivel. He was on his heels, on his toes. He didn't even know what was going on. Rushing for the ball, running back Samaje Perine for the Broncos was 6 for 37 at a 6.2 yards per carry. Running back Javonte Williams was 12 carries for 27 yards on a 2.3 yards per carry. And quarterback Russell Wilson was 7 carries for 6 yards and did have a touchdown on a plunge, 0.9 yards per carry. So we held them under, and they had a couple of guys, the Mims had an end around. They had a couple of guys that actually ran the ball as well, but we did hold them to under 100 yards rushing. Then receiving for the Broncos, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, he was 3 catches for 74 yards. He had a 30-40 yard catch right off the bat, and I was like, oh no, here it comes. But he got locked down pretty good for the rest of the game. On a 24.7 yards per catch, he was targeted 7 times. Wide receiver Cortland Sutton, who I was really worried about, he went 5 for 71. Decent day, 14.2 yards per catch, 6 targets. And then wide receiver Lil Jordan Humphrey was 3 catches for 16 yards and a touchdown, 5.3 yards a catch on 4 targets. So not a lot of guys did a lot of damage through the air for the Broncos, but those guys did that. And then defense, linebacker Jose Jewell had 9 tackles. Cornerback Fabian Moreau had 8 tackles. Defensive end, linebacker, edge, whatever. Jonathan Cooper had 5 tackles and a sack. He was the guy to look out for. He had a decent day. Safety Justin Simmons, who was good too. He had 5 tackles. He had a couple pass breakups too. He is a good safety. Linebacker Alex Singleton had 5 tackles. Defensive lineman Jonathan Harris had 5 tackles, and defensive tackle DJ Jones had 4 tackles and a sack. So not a lot of playmaking going on for the Denver Broncos. They are a team that takes the ball away, and they did not do that. We held onto the ball for pretty much the whole game. Yeah. And then the Lions, quarterback Jared Goff had a fantastic football game, 24 for 34 on a 70.5% completion percentage. He was hitting everything. First quarter started off a little bit rocky for him, just like Russell Wilson did too. But it started a little bit rocky. Then he just caught on in the second quarter. And then it was all Goff the rest of the way. 278 yards, 5 touchdowns. Only a second time in his career thrown for 5 touchdowns. But man, it was good. It was nice seeing that. 0 interceptions, sacked twice. And then running back Jahmyr Gibbs was awesome. He had 11 carries for 100 yards right on the nose and a touchdown. 9.1 yards per rush. He is a stud. Arguing with fans right now. Some guy told me that Jahmyr Gibbs is overrated. Comes from a Vikings fan, so don't you know what I mean? But I'm arguing with the guy because he's telling me that he only does things against bad defenses. So whatever, man. Guy's a stud. On his way to 1,000 yards, 1,000+ yards. On his way to 400 yards receiving, double-digit touchdowns probably, and on a RBBC, running back by committee. So don't tell me he's overrated. He's a stud. And then running back David Montgomery was 17 for 85 on 5 yards of carry as well. He was having a nice day. I needed him to hit 100 yards though for my fantasy. I'm in trouble. Receiving wise, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, big bounce back game as well too. 7 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown on a touchdown where he jumped over a corner or whatever it was. A safety did a complete somersault. I was like, oh no, this is going to end bad. Landed on his butt. He was all good though. Touchdown. He was 16 yards per catch. Targeted 9 times, caught 7. Then tight end Sam Laporta, huge day. 5 for 56 yards, 3 touchdowns, got in the end zone 3 times, on 11.2 yards a catch, targeted 6 times. Wide receiver Jameson Williams, 4 catches for 47 yards, 11.8 yards a catch. And what really makes me happy here, 7 targets. That's what I want to see. That's what I called out to. I called out to Ben Johnson. I was begging, get the kid involved. And it looks like they were really trying to get him involved early on in the game. And he made a spectacular catch on one play where he went up in the air, got it, came falling back down, twisted his body all around. It looked like he hurt himself because he fell on that. He fell on his knee. He fell awkwardly. He's rubbery. He's just a stretchy dude. And he just he pinned his leg back. And it looked like he might have hurt his knee. He did kind of get up gimpy, but he was running around, but you didn't really see him a whole hell of a lot after that. But it looks like he's a little bit banged up right now, but I think he'll be good to go. But man, it looked worse than it was. But I just love the targets. Targeting him 7 times, getting him involved, beautiful. And wide receiver Josh Reynolds had 2 catches for 41 yards on 20.5 yards a catch, 3 targets. And then running back Jahmyr Gibbs, he was 2 for 8 yards. Receiving. He did have a touchdown too as well through the air. 4 yards per catch on 2 targets as well. Caught all 2 of his targets. So everybody contributing in this day. And then the defense, they were balls out too. Oh, I forgot to say kicker Michael Badgley. Riley Patterson was either hurt. I don't know what's going on with Patterson. I don't know what's going on with Patterson. I don't know if he just got sent down to the practice squad. But Michael Badgley got elevated. And Badgley hit all 6 of his extra points, so right there. And then the defense linebacker, Alex Anzalone, 12 tackles. He was all over the field. Safety, Ife Melifonwu, who looks like he's got a full-time gig now, had 8 tackles, a sack, forced fumble, a couple pass breakups. He looked like a guy that's been starting for years. He had a phenomenal football game. He should be up there for defensive player of the year. Of the week probably. He had such a good game. I don't think he might not win it, but he should be a nominated guy going into next week. So he had a fantastic football game, Melifonwu. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Gardner Johnson comes back. If they move Melifonwu to cornerback 2, CB2, because I think Jacobs is done. Jerry Jacobs is not going to play anymore. He's a backup. He's a special teamer. We'll see what happens with his injury. But Melifonwu has played good. He played great last week, and he played pretty good against the Bears too as well, I think too. So it looks like he's got himself cemented as a starter somewhere in that secondary. Then defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson had 4 tackles and a couple pressures. He played. I thought he played the run exceptionally well. He made a couple nice stops on the run, getting that pressure. Didn't get any sacks, but he's getting closer and closer. He's still stuck at 6.5, whatever he's got. The defensive end, John Kaminsky, he had 5 tackles as well. D lineman, Joshua Pascal, 3 tackles and a sack. He had a really nice game, I thought. Nose tackle Isaiah Buggs, 2 tackles, had a fumble recovery. The big man tried to return it all the way. He went about 30 plus yards. I think it was 33 to be exact. Just got gassed out, man, and got tackled. But that was a big man running down the field. And then linebacker Jack Campbell, the rookie out of Iowa, he had 5 tackles as well. Just a really good effort a team effort by everybody, even the coaches. Like Aaron Glenn called a great game. Ben Johnson called a fantastic game. Dan Campbell, didn't have to do anything stupid. I thought he let everybody. I thought he let everybody do their jobs. He was concentrating on just coaching, being the head coach, and he was going up against his mentor, going up against Sean Payton, and I thought it was a teacher versus student moment, and he beat up on the teacher. A lot of people will say, "Oh, why did he go for that touchdown late? It was 4th and 2. Why don't you just kick the field goal?" Why? 42-17. Who cares, man? You're up already 35-17 at that point. What's another touchdown? People getting upset about it. I read some stuff online. Some people were getting upset. Mostly people were for it. But I'm telling you right now, Sean Payton's doing the same thing. So, we were great offensively. We called a picture-perfect game. Everybody was great. The whole O-line was intact. Played really good. Decker was playing better. It's so funny how you see guys like Decker playing better when everybody's on board, when everyone's in there. Funny how you see Goff playing better when everybody's healthy. It's no shot on anybody, but that's basically what you see. Like, this is what it is. You got everybody healthy, everybody's going to gel. And it's not a knock on anybody. Having the O-line, I think when the O-line's intact, I think we're 5-0. When everybody's in there, that's including Glasgow, who wasn't a starter at the beginning of the year, by the way. Kind of stole that job from Vaitai. Vaitai got a little bit banged up, then Glasgow started running away with it in training camp. Next thing you know, Glasgow is the guy. But he wasn't coming in here to be the starter. He wasn't penciled in. Vaitai was in that. Vaitai was supposed to be the guy. But when we got guys like Decker, Jackson, Ragnow, Glasgow, we've been 5-0. That's not a surprise. It's a good thing. Hopefully Ragnow can stay healthy. That's the big key component right there, I think. So offensively, great, man. Everybody contributed. Everybody. The running game was hot. Goff was hot. The wide receivers were hot. Tight ends were hot. Just perfect game. Perfect game by the offense. Then defensively, Aaron Glenn did his thing. He kept Russell Wilson on his toes. I honestly think the Broncos were shocked on the way we played them. I think they probably thought that we were going to play off them, try to rush 4, not blitz a lot. Aaron Glenn blitzed. It felt like he blitzed everybody at one point. He was blitzing 8-9 guys, man. It felt like at times, and they were getting there. That's the good thing about it. Like, that's not going to happen every time, but they were getting there for the most part. Blitzing the linebackers, Anzalone coming in, Derek Barnes, blitzing the safeties, Melifonwu, blitzing the corners, seeing guys like Brian Branch coming in. He blitzed a couple times. He almost got home. They were making Russell Wilson, he was looking around like he thought he was going to get railroaded by a train. His head wasn't in the game. They threw his game off completely. I think that whole game plan, threw Denver way off. Because we blitzed, it felt like we blitzed 80% of the time. It really did. And it was a very, very good game. We played the run exceptionally well. Got to Russell Wilson a couple times home. The sacks, with a couple sacks there. With Pascal and Melifonwu. Pressure. Played the run. Secondary played exceptionally well, I think. It looked like it was going to be a long day at first with the big Judy completion. Cortland, Sutton, and Judy did have decent days with over 70 yards each. But, other than that, man, they didn't get in the end zone. They got that one touchdown from Humphrey. Which they just played an exceptional football game. Exceptional. It was one of the most complete games I've ever watched. So, big game, 10-4. It's a huge game. Now, up next is at Minnesota, 1 p.m. I'm guessing. I think it is. This is for the division. For the Lions, anyways. This is for, and I'm expecting the Minnesota Vikings to come play their asses off. Nobody wants to see in Minnesota, in that team, in that city, fan base, whatever, organization. They don't want to see the Lions come in here and dancing in the middle of in the middle of their field with the division, being division winners. So I expect Minnesota to come out tough. The Minnesota's a good team. I think they got, they just had some bad luck this year. They're down to like their fifth or sixth quarterback, whatever it is. But Mullins was officially their number 2 at the beginning of the year. He just got hurt. He just came back. But Mullins, you do the same thing that you did with Russell Wilson. You come at him. If you come at Nick Mullins, he's going to give the ball away. I watched him against the Bengals. He panics. He's a panic guy. We'll get into that, into that preview in a couple days. But they got to kind of, stick with the same type of game plan. Don't sit back and let him pick you apart because, like I said, even though he's a backup, you give any type of NFL quarterback any kind of time, they're going to pick you apart. And I don't think we have the pass rush. Well, we don't. We don't have the pass rush, and we don't have the secondary to hold up enough for facing guys like Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne, Brandon Powell. They have a decent running game. They have a good old line. It's a little bit different team than the Broncos, obviously. I think they're a little bit better offensively. They are. They have better weapons. But you got to kind of treat Mullins the same. If you treat him the same, and he's going to give you the ball back. He'll give you the ball back. And that Bengals game, they have to watch that Bengals game, Glenn and the boys, and just say, man, this guy, he just throws the ball up in the air. But we'll talk about that later. I thought it was a great game by Detroit Lions. 42-17, humongous win. I didn't think that they had it in them. And it's not that I lost faith in them. It's just that I didn't think that they were going to win this football game. I really didn't. Just the way they were playing, losing to Green Bay, losing to Chicago, Denver coming in hot. It just felt bad for me. And I just felt bad in my stomach. I didn't feel really good about the game. But hey, I love being proven right in this situation. It's not all about being right and wrong here. It's not. I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that think their opinions are only, I have to be right 24/7. It's not like that with me. I'm different, man. I'm built a little different. If I say something that's not right, I'm going to own up to it. Just like I've made calls about players, I've made calls about coaches and teams and all that stuff. I'm not hitting on them 100 and not 100. It's impossible. I wouldn't be sitting here if I did that. I'd be a professional. But I'm having fun doing this. I love being wrong. Lions are 10-4. We're literally inches away from a playoff berth, and we're a couple of days away from winning the division. And that hasn't happened ever in the NFC North. We've never won the North. We've won the Central, but that's a long, long time ago. So good job, guys. Lions. Hey, man, 10-4. Let's go. Thanks for coming in and watching the video, guys. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Big win, 42-17. Go Lions. One pride. Detroit versus everybody. Boom. Go Lions, baby. Bam.